Hey everybody, thank you for joining me. Now I recently did a full review of the Varjo Aero headset and I've had some really good reactions to the video, so thank you very much for that. But lots of people have been saying they'd have loved to have seen a bit more of the headset. People have been particularly asking for through the lens footage. Now I don't often do through the lens footage because I don't think it's the best representation of what you actually see when you're wearing the headset. It's never going to look as good when it's captured by a camera. It's just not going to be the same. But because so many people have asked, I've had a bit of a play this time and I think I've got some pretty reasonable footage. So what I've done is I've gone through the same process with a few headsets so we can get a bit of a comparison. Hopefully you'll be able to see what this headset's all about, because it really is the visuals that stand out with the Aero. It's edge to edge clarity, everything just looks so punchy, the colours are so vibrant and so lifelike, and it really does add a bit of a different flavour to the games you've played before. Now if this footage is useful to you, please do press the like button, and if you want to see more content like this in the future, then a sub to the channel would be awesome. Right, no more messing around, let's take a look at the footage. Right, so we're starting off with this scene from Automobilista 2, and you can instantly see the kind of details I'm talking about. Just see how clear that stitching is on the driver. Everything shines through so clearly. The text on that dashboard is incredibly easy to read. Everything is exactly how you want it to be. Now this is filmed at 4K, but I've cropped right in to focus on the real details. That does mean that you're now watching it at a much lower resolution, so I really don't want you to think that this is a true representation of what you see in the headset. It just draws to light the details that can be seen. Next, I'm going to pass you over to a scene from Half-Life Alyx, and again, just look at the details on that glove. As we pass over to the floor here, every single paint splash on the floor really stands out. It does draw to light the amazing detail that this game has put together. The lens flare and the chromatic aberration that you're seeing is a result of the way I'm filming it and not something you're going to see when you're wearing it. But the colours just look fantastic. Look at the quality of that floorboard. It's almost like you're looking at a genuine physical object, not something rendered in a game. Here's a shot of some video footage from the start of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Again, really clear. And here is a shot from Boneworks. Not one of the most graphically intense games on the market, but even just the texture of the jumper on your arms looks incredible when you're wearing the Aero. Now we're going back to the first scene in Automobilista 2 for a comparison between the Aero and the Oculus Quest 2. Just look at the detail difference between the two, and the colour vibrancy on the Aero really stands out when you put it next to what you see through the Quest. Swapping the Quest out for the HP Reverb G2 here, you see the colours deepen and become a bit more lifelike, but still nowhere near to the same standard as with the Aero. Again, the details increase, but only subtly. Just look at the cross stitching near the buckle, it's so much more clear on the Aero. And here we've got all three side by side so you can really get a look at each and make some comparisons for yourself. Each one really has its own style. I like the way the light bounces off the fabric with more contrast on the Aero. Over to Half-Life Alyx now, and I've really zoomed in on this Persian rug to grab the detail. At this kind of zoom, the Reverb G2 is really starting to fall apart, but the Aero is looking fantastic. In terms of raw numbers, there isn't an enormous difference in pixels between the two, but in practice, many differences shine through. Now, as always, take it with a pinch of salt because it's so difficult to get the camera set up correctly to record these. Now, some moving footage comparison between the Aero and the Quest 2 back in that scene in Alyx. I think lots of the visual issues kind of smooth out when the camera's moving, but it is really hard to get this kind of footage, so apologies for the increase in lens flares, though I do think both headsets are doing a great job of rendering this scene. Quest 2 seems to use a slightly warmer colour palette. Now over to Boneworks, and there really isn't much to separate the Aero from the G2 in this scene, certainly to my eyes. Very similar picture, maybe a slightly different colour selection. I'm getting more greys in the G2 and a slightly warmer colour from the Aero. The cardboard box is particularly a deeper brown on the G2, which I actually quite like. Comment below which one looks better to you. Here we've got a close-up of the dashboard in Automobilista so you can really see how clear the text is. Now both of these offer a fantastic experience when working with the dash, but I think the Aero just pips it with that added clarity, making everything really easy to look at with a quick glance. Thank you to vrcompare.com for this incredibly useful image that really puts the resolution of each headset into perspective. Starting with the Oculus Quest 2 at 1832 pixels by 1920. We then move on to the G2 at 2160 by 2160. And finally the Aero at 2880 by 2720. A sizable jump between each, And something to consider for the future, things get really daunting when you zoom out and look at what Pimax are promising to deliver. 5,760 by 3,240. It really looks insane when you put it in perspective next to the rest of these. So there you have it, that was my through the lens footage with the Varjo Aero. Hopefully you've taken something from that. Now let me know in the comments if you've got any other questions. Maybe a live Q&A would be good. Let me know in the comments below, maybe we can sort something out. Hopefully I will catch you on the next video. Thank you very much, goodbye.